There's also a deadly riot after a Christmas tree lighting ceremony in Chicago. Gunfire there left a 14-year-old dead, 8 teens injured, rioters attacking police. President Trump weighed in on Truth Social, writing, quote, massive crime and rioting in the Chicago Loop area. Multiple police officers attacked and badly injured. Governor Pritzker and the low IQ mayor of Chicago are refusing federal government help for a situation that could be quickly remedied. The people are chanting, bring in Trump. All right, well, here's Mike Tobin. He joins us live, reporting on the ground in Chicago. What can you tell us about what went down?
And Jillian, we just couldn't make it through even the tree lighting ceremony without significant violence, as the shocking violence in Chicago just keeps coming. You mentioned that 14-year-old who was killed. His name was Armani Floyd. The coroner said his cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. Now, that shooting was the second of 2 shootings that evening, just about an hour earlier, right on State Street, about 10 p.m. in front of the historic Chicago Theater. Gunfire broke out. 7 people were shot. Their ages ranged from 13 to 17. And their shootings followed a trend called a teen takeover, where young people post something on social media and then they swarm an area. Kids reportedly had shown up from southern as well as northern suburbs. The alderman of that ward says the teenagers were rioting. Right now, it's not known what sparked the gunfire. It is not known if the 2 shootings are connected. Now, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson again placed blame on the availability of guns, but he did this time direct some blame at the kids participating in the takeover and seemed to accept some responsibility.
What we put in place did not do enough to prevent what we were concerned about from actually manifesting.
No suspects are in custody. A Chicago police officer was reportedly injured. We're waiting for an update on that officer's condition. Jillian?
All right, Mike Tobin in Chicago for us. Thank you.
So more on this now with Chicago resident Cata Truss, director of the Community Roundtable. And welcome back here, Cata. Good morning to you. I just want to show our viewers some numbers here, okay? Violent crime in 2025. Year-to-date, murders 378. Shootings 1,300. Robberies 5,200. Felonies, theft 16,400. Whether it's the mayor or the police chief, I'd just be pissed off if I saw those numbers. I mean, enough is enough, Cata.
Well, we've been pissed off, and we became pissed off when Brandon Johnson actually took office and, moved to remove police officers from our Chicago public schools. And, we're seeing this violence. We're seeing it being perpetrated with our youth. So we know that there's an issue with youth, and we know that it is starting in the schools. And when they plan these parties and these get-togethers, they get on social media, they get together with their friends, and they're talking about it at school. There was a measure over the summer that was put in place where we had some local officials who were really concerned about the violence, said to the mayor, hey, listen, we need to do something about this. We need to maybe put some mechanisms in place where these young people have to have an adult with them when they're coming downtown. The mayor voted against it. And yeah, they put another plan in place, but the plan that if they had went with the original plan, we wouldn't see this. There wouldn't have been a loss of life this weekend.
Cata, Mike Tobin there just reported that the mayor appeared to start taking some responsibility over the weekend, but he did also take pains to point out that all this went down despite what he calls heightened law enforcement presence, 700 additional officers, and violence intervention workers that were in the area when all this went down. That message from him, loud and clear, I don't want more cops. That's not going to solve my problems. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that as much as he may not want more cops, I think that more cops are needed. Not only are more cops needed, we need more intervention services needed, but we also need to hold our young people accountable. And that's one of the biggest things that I think that really needs to happen. They need to understand that when they come downtown or anywhere in the city and participate in these kinds of events and cause any kind of confusion, especially where there's a loss of life, then there needs to be consequences.
Yeah, just look at the numbers here, right? From over the weekend, a 14-year-old boy, grazed wound, 15-year-old boy shot in the left thigh, 17-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, on it goes. There was another story in Chicago that broke over the weekend, however, that is equally as disturbing. The Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, revealing this on X. All right, here we go. It's devastating that a career criminal with 72 prior arrests is now accused of attacking 26-year-old Bethany McGee on Chicago's L train and setting her on fire. This would have never happened as Thug had been behind bars, yet Chicago lets repeat offenders roam the streets. Chicago's carelessness is putting the American people at risk. No one should ever have to fear for their life on the subway. Cata, I don't know if it's the laws, I don't know if it's the judges, maybe it's both following each other. This cannot be acceptable. 72 arrests.
There are so many extenuating factors in this, but just let me say this.
Please.
I am of the mind that Chicago Transit Authority needs their own police. The violence on our trains and buses over the last 3 or 4 years have been astronomical, and something needs to be done. And I'll be honest with you and tell you I absolutely am petrified to ride public transportation.
I can imagine. I mean, it only takes one deranged, heinous crime like this. By the way, we don't know if that young woman will ultimately survive. We know she's still in the ICU. Only one thing has to happen like that for people not to want to get on public transportation for years.
Well, it's really bad. And there are some lines where you can also see on Friday, as those young people were returning from downtown, there's video clips of violence on the CTA trains coming from downtown that day. And so I just think that CTA probably needs their own police. They need people to enforce the laws because it is really bad.
Cata, good luck to you, okay? Appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your feelings. Cata Truss, a resident of Chicago. Let's hope it gets better.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.